Hello and welcome back to Tommy's Top Picks Weekly Roundup Podcast, episode 93. I'm your host, Tommy, joined by John.
How is it going? 93 is a big number.
Yeah. It's almost triple digit. We're getting there. We're thinking of ideas of what we want to do for it, but nothing's solidified yet.
You want to tell them what your thought was so you get some comments?
Sure. Okay. So what our discussion last night was that we would do a live podcast. So we would give you guys a heads up, maybe a week or two in advance, and solicit some questions that we can answer. And then you can even join us live while we meander and ramble. It'll probably be a long one, just kind of talking about whatever, as long as people are asking questions. So,
sounds like fun.
Yeah, we can get some questions loaded up front, and then we can also answer questions in the chat.
Yeah, just interact with people. Anyone can come in, join the live YouTube live thing, and
a celebration.
Yeah, 2 years, 2-year-old podcast.
2-year-old podcast. Well, almost 2-year-old podcast. It'd be 104, right?
Yeah, 104 will be the.
We'll celebrate 2 years.
We're gonna do 100 and 104 special. No, I don't think so.
No, we'll just be like, yay, 2 years, and moving on.
And
so we are post Bright Lights now. So this is going to be a very Bright Lights heavy podcast, Flesh and Blood heavy podcast. Just our thoughts, our feelings, how cards are doing, what is going on, how we feel about it.
Yeah.
So, where do we want to start?
I kind of like the let's talk about your play, because you got to play with Bright Lights. I did not.
Yeah, sadly. We talked about it on last week's podcast.
Oh yeah, you didn't get to play after that, did you?
Nope.
I was actually going to ask how the other, what was it they were playing, draft, or were they doing crack shuffle play? I can't remember. They were playing something different, right?
I think it was draft. Yeah. But I have not been able to play. Work has been insanely busy, but now I'm on the other side of it, and it's very, very exciting.
Yay.
Life will resume to somewhat normalcy. Fingers crossed.
So you got to play it though, and we did talk about it last week. Now that we've had a chance to look at the overall and see some feedback from people and see some Discord conversation and such, what do you think of the long-term, I guess, reality or possibility of these like single class sets, these kind of formats and that sort of thing?
Give me a warrior one.
Actually, that'd be kind of cool.
I know.
Straight warrior with some light.
That was there was some discussion about that at the opening. And I think Warrior would just work really well into it, just because of all the reactions. And maybe we get our first like Warrior defense reactions. And then you have like a Warrior with a sword and board. And then you have a Warrior with a two-handed, and then a Warrior with dual wielding. Mm-hmm. And just have different kinds of Warriors. And because we have the sword and board weapons now, but there's nothing to build around with it really. But I don't know. Overall, I don't think I'm a fan.
No.
Because it gets mechnologist people super excited, I guess. But that's a very small market, or a very small demographic. For any, like, you're taking a niche game, right? Like Flesh and Blood. And I feel like it takes a lot of the excitement out of it. Like, I know they tried to do the special slot where there's all these new Majestics and everyone gets their new toy, but some of them are just like, meh, I'm not even going to play this. And some are, like with the Warrior one, it's like, I'll try it out, but I don't think it really changes any game plans.
Yeah.
And I get and respect, and maybe this is just now being on the other side of the, hey, not every set's for you. But it feels kind of bad. You know what I mean? Like, this is the least excited I've been for a set. Like, I felt no need to like go rush and open any.
Yeah. Well, and maybe that's a good thing, you know?
Sure. It's a good thing for me.
It's for the players. It's for the game. It's not for the cracking and collecting crowd, maybe.
Sure. But so what does that do to the market of the singles?
a good question. That is
And
what we will discover with this set, because this is like we have our 2.0 right data
Mhm.
sets. This is going to be something totally different.
Oh
Like
yeah, this
I
is
don't think it
yeah.
can fit a 2.0 model, right?
No.
Even though it's 2.0.
So do we have less of this printed? I know we don't want to speculate on print runs, but I would assume. But also, it's a main set, and that we're going to be drafting for the next 6 months.
Yeah. Just skimming through Twitter, people seem to think the draft is actually really fun.
Cool.
They're saying getting to the end of the third pack and still being able to pull a playable card is cool.
That does sound cool.
But it is still a mechanologist. So here's the question: if that's fun and great, but people are driven by collecting cards, because I know we have more than one person that comes to draft specifically because they like getting cards to take home with them, because they don't have the money to open whole boxes, they don't chase cases, you know what I mean?
Sure.
So for draft, it's a way of building their collection while playing the game.
Yes.
If they're not mecha players, yeah, like, do they show up?
Yeah.
I don't know. I would assume no, but I don't know. If this is the draft we're playing for the next 6 months or whatever it is, that could hurt. That could hurt the store. That could hurt our little local community, because sometimes we don't fire. And if people are consistently not showing up, yeah, we're not going to fire.
Yeah, that's new to our shop, of things not firing. But then at the same time, we have this set that's not really lighting things up brightly.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I haven't sensed a whole lot of excitement from our local group. And I think there was a lot of hype leading up to it. And then everyone was just kind of like, maybe not.
Yeah. Yeah, I kind of want to do the draft because I don't think I want to crack boxes. I just want the draft to get some playset, like, Yeah. Because I don't think I'm going to bother with getting a whole box to crack.
No. And this might be the first set that I don't collect a full playset of.
Yeah, I'll just draft what I can out of it, and that'll be that. Maybe buy some singles of certain things.
Yeah, I'll buy that Warrior Majestic. I'll buy those, playset of those, and
I might buy a whole deck. I don't know. Trying to decide if I actually want to dive into the new thing or if I'm just shiny new thing.
I don't know. No, I think Teklevosen is your Magic preference. Like the decks you would play in Magic. That's kind of
It does feel like it's that style.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of people that wanted to build it, and I don't want to be the same as like 4 people in the shop.
But I don't know if they actually are.
Yeah, I mean, I haven't caught up with them because we've been
busy
and traveling and stuff. Like I haven't had a chance to see where it actually is landing.
Right.
So I will tell you, my life has been super busy too. I have not had the chance to play this. I feel like I'm back pre-COVID, which I've said before, but this time it really feels that way. Like I don't really have time for weekly gaming like this, and at the peak of my existence before COVID, I got game night once every other week. That was about as good as I could do consistently.
Right. And now it's a whole another thing.
Yeah.
And now you have to choose between all your different
I was about to say, now I have too many games. And I'm in trouble. Yeah. I'm in trouble, guys.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, will I be excited to draft it? Yes. Am I excited? Yes. And I'm sure I will be the first couple of times, but I don't think I'm going to be wanting to draft this a whole lot.
I feel the opposite. I kind of want to draft it a whole lot, but the reality is, will I be able to make it?
No.
And the reason I want to draft it a whole lot is because I don't want to open boxes, and I want to get as much of a playset as I can. So,
right,
drafting is the easiest way to get me there.
Yeah. Or we just do some crack shuffle plays.
Yeah, we could do that too. That's totally reasonable approach to it.
But yeah,
actually, that might be the easiest way, because then it can be on my schedule instead of on the game shop schedule.
Yeah, which I think is good. I mean, it's not as and I have a hard time now saying that this is an entry level set.
It's not.
It's not, because we were struggling with some of the idiosyncrasies of the set while we were doing, and most of us have been playing for a decent.
And we were looking at the rules before, like the rules of Rata, and like having conversations about it before we even got to touch cards.
Yeah.
So,
but it is doing a couple cool things. It is making some very key cards accessible. Well, quotation accessible. So the Spring Tunic now we have the lowest price Spring Tunic at $84 currently on TCG Player. And
that's pretty good.
That's pretty good. I mean, the Crucible of War one unlimited's down to 100. The white border's at 126, which is more than the Crucible Unlimited, which is funny. And then we have the WTR Unlimited at 154 still, but that's even come down quite a bit.
The cold gold foil is 300,000, I believe.
Yeah. But I mean, like, it just, what was it? In August, it was like 240 still, 250. July, August, and then it's just been coming down. I think ever since they announced that, it's just been. So we're not done going down, I don't think, on the WTR tunic. So if you want a rainbow one, I'd still hold off. Because it's real down. Like in the last month, it was like like just under 200. And now we've dropped another $50.
Show players market for you.
Yeah. Just because there's more out there. And then I think the reason the price was being driven up was because there wasn't a cheaper alternative.
Mm-hmm.
Or there was, and then because I remember Crucible and the white border weren't like that much cheaper. But and then we also have Teklo Foundry Heart at 84. No, that was 61. At 61. Sorry. So if you want to play mech, it'd probably be pretty cheap, and a lot of the new cards aren't even that crazy. If you don't go for the extended arts or the Marvels.
Yeah, even the extended arts are pretty reasonable, I'd say. $33. That's reasonable for an extended art, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah.
I feel like that's
extended art majestic.
At release. It'll probably come down.
Yeah, the one's at 54, the Terminator tank.
Well, yeah, because that's like your big chase card, I think.
But then that's even more than a lot of the Rainbow Foil legendaries.
Yeah.
Where we have a lot of the Rainbow Foil legendaries sitting at that around $30. Like the Warband of Bologna is $28.50.
Well, I think that's normal.
That is
like
normal. But I think it's 2.0
sets, the Rainbow Foil legendaries are always kind of like dirt cheap.
I think this is happening faster though.
Yeah, it's probably true. It is only a weekend, not even a weekend, is it? Yeah, that is true. It's faster. You're right. Because
it's a weekend.
About a week for the rainbow. Yeah, the rainbow foils to drop down.
Yeah, adaptive plating 32, Hyper X3 33, 34. Tome of Imperial Flame 25. That's a fire card. Dromai got some heat. Yeah. Dromai's going to be around.
I saw a Twitter post is like, I didn't pull any heat for my Bright Lights case, and it showed 3 tunics and a core.
Yeah.
Where's my tome?
Yeah.
I mean, clearly that's a tongue in cheek, but
right.
But it's like, yeah, the tome is really the chase,
which is funny.
I will say the Marvels, right? Mm-hmm. I love my Marvels. I don't really care about these Marvels.
Yeah.
They're not even full arts,
no.
Which I thought was insane. Like, that's nuts. They've done so, like Dust Till Dawn, those beautiful angels. Like, what did they do this time? I don't get it.
Yeah. I mean, some of them are holding up, like the Evo Steel Soul processors at 100.
For a Marvel? That's not holding up, man.
I know.
That's the at release. The angels were like 250.
Yeah,
these are 100, and there are less of them, so it should be higher. You would think, because there's probably not that many that are going to be pulled by comparison.
Right.
I guess it. I don't know what the rarity is. That's I
think that's a majestic.
It is, okay. Yeah, I was like, it's probably a majestic, right? So it's probably as rare as like Tomotai. So,
yeah.
And it's probably the big piece, I'm guessing. I don't know, but just based on the price being 100 is probably the thing you want if you're going to only have one. So
yeah, the regular version's just $4.
Yeah, I don't get it. They're really cheap.
Yeah.
But I'm not excited. Like I I like the gameplay component of this set, but there's nothing here that I'm like, oh, I gotta put this on my shelf.
Sure.
Which is weird. It feels weird. I feel naked.
So okay, we always
where's
talk
my
about
beautiful
it.
chase on my shelf? Where's my shelf piece?
So we always talk about it being a player's market, right?
Yeah.
Is this just a player set?
Yes.
Yes.
That's what it feels like.
Yeah.
It feels like completely built for the players, and the collectors are kind of like, second thought at best.
Right.
Now, here's a question. I don't know. This might be worth. I don't know. All right, leave me a comment if Hyper X3 is pure gas, because if it is, then maybe they did this right and I'm wrong. Because the Hyper X3 extended art, I'm assuming being that it's legendary, it's going to be very rare, right?
Yeah.
And extended art is going to be even rarer. So maybe what they're doing is shifting gears. I don't know why they have Marvels then, though, because the Marvels should be the art pieces. That's why it's called a Marvel.
Yeah.
I don't understand why they didn't make it extended art.
Yeah, really if they had like extended art versions on the back of all, and then like imagine like you then get all your Evo steels up, right? And so then on your armor side,
yeah, but they don't. They're not. They're regular on the back, right?
Yeah, they're just regular fat backing.
I don't understand what they did with the Marvels this time. Yeah, I don't get it. So if the Hyper X3 is fire, pure gas, the card you absolutely have to play the new Max, and Max is the Red Go Burr awesomeness that's going to shake the meta, right? I'm just making a bunch of assumptions here, but if that's the case, then Hyper X extended art is like that collector piece. Which okay, I can get into that. Like, it is a beautiful card and it is extended art. I can put that on my shelf. I could see that. And then of course Warband of Bologna is the other one because it's an angel and everyone loves angels. But they're not Marvels.
No.
I don't know why they didn't just make those the Marvels. It's really weird.
Or even have like Marvel Heroes.
But back to my original point. The reason why this may be a correct thing is if that is the case, if HyperX is super, super good and super desirable, then the idea that the support for the collectors is minimizing the special things, because I definitely know some of the collectors aren't super excited about there being so many angels, so many dragons, because they kind of cheapened them. They cheapened the Marvels, the dragons were down to like $20. So it's like, is it really collectible? At the heat of that set, the dragons dropped all the way to under $20 for some of them. And so it's like, wow, a Marvel that's $20 makes it not that good, not that collectible, right? So maybe they're reducing the number of collectible things, but again, I'm still baffled by the fact the Marvel thing isn't full art, because they're actually
So do you think
Marvels.
all the money that goes into the collectible things as a whole should then be filled into one?
Well, I think
inflate that price.
That's what I was like. Maybe they were trying to re-engineer it to be like there's only one or two really beautiful special pieces in the set.
Yeah.
And that's your thing for collectors, which would be like, as a collector, if that was the engineering going forward, like we have your Tomotai or your 3 big dragons, but not the little dragons, right? Like if they did that, I'm in. If they had the big angels, right? Because there's a few that were majestics, and that was it, and nothing else. I'm in. I like that. I like that all the collectible money gets funneled and focused to a razor sharp point on a few things, because that increases the value. It's fewer things to chase, and when there's fewer things to chase, the demand goes up, right? Because there's less supply. So, I like that for a collectible thing, but the fact that these aren't the Marvels, they're just extended arts, really muddles that message, if that's the message, because Marvels were supposed to be the special thing, and I'm looking at Marvels that are cheaper than extended arts.
Sure.
And that's weird, and also don't have full art and don't look like they're Marvelous, right?
It's just like, the cold foiling.
Yeah, like what happened?
Yeah,
I don't get it. And I've looked at pictures of the cold foils. You sent them today, and I'm looking at it, and like it looks, kind of cool. Like they're kind of a weird cold foiling that's like colored, which is neat.
Yeah.
But it's not like the full art angels, you know?
No, it's not.
Like, it's nothing like those. Those were like, holy crap, my jaw's on the ground, you know?
Oh yeah, no, absolutely.
By comparison. So I don't know what happened here. I think they missed on this one if they had some goals like that. Makes me sad because I like collecting art every time a new set comes out. It's one of the things I look forward
It's
to.
saying take a break, wait for the next one.
Well, that's what it is. It's like, well, I guess I have extra money to do something else.
Fine.
I don't want to do anything. Guess I'll go buy more flowers for my garden. I don't know. It's like, what do you do?
I don't know. I think it's a cool experiment. I would be nervous if we started getting these more regularly.
So here's the thing in the design space side of it, and this is where I wonder, and we can start getting into some of the mechanic stuff we were talking about the other day on the back of this conversation. But yeah. I'm wondering if part of this is filling gaps, right? We talked about this before, where it's like mech hasn't had a whole lot of support. It's been in multiple sets, but it hasn't gotten that boom of support that gets it over the top.
Right.
And so maybe this is to fill the gap and open it up, right? Create multiple play styles with it, which I think
absolutely it does
viable and good. Yeah. It also leaves a lot of room because now you have, 3 different archetypes within mech that you can expand upon and do new cards to help the Teklevasen, and then do new cards to help Max, in the next supplemental sets, next 6, they can do a couple cards for each, and it makes it very easy to keep expanding. So it almost feels like an engineering fix where they were kind of designed into a hole of boost. Now they're out of the hole. And then on the other side of it, so will they keep doing it? I think the answer is yes, to do the same concept on other classes that are gotten locked into an archetype. And I think Vincett's a perfect example of that. It's like a very different way to do Runeblade when Runeblade started to feel very confined to go wide, right? And Runeblade's probably a bad example because it's probably the best engineered of all of them and the most interesting, mechanic structure. But I guarantee up until that endpoint, the lines that are in there are the lines used in most, Runeblades because they're just good, right?
Yes.
And it's kind of designed into a corner, unfortunately. And Vincett helps open that up by being something totally different. Now, this is the infinite card pool problem, right? Eventually, they build in so many nuances of mechanics and structural mechanics that they design themselves into a bit of a corner where every card they add is infinitely more difficult to add because of the interactions. Interactions keep increasing each time they add new interactions, right?
Sure.
So you get this multiplicative effect that I think they might have found themselves in a bit of a hole, and so they opened it up by creating new archetypes that are just very different. But I just don't know if that is where the next step happens. Instead of new classes, or not new classes, new heroes, it's new archetypes is really what they start introducing. New heroes as well, but it's really about introducing completely new archetypes for classes that exist instead of repeat previous class structure.
Yeah, no, I agree with that.
And so if that's the case, then yes, we see more of these sets.
Yeah.
We see the warrior one, we see the Runeblade one, we see the wizard one. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And
Didn't they say there's an all wizard set coming?
I think it was all arcane.
Right, all arcane, yeah. So that might be wizard and Runeblade.
Could be. But my thought is, I think something kind of clever they did. I mean, it's just pack filler essentially, but for limited, to keep these things kind of interesting, they've reprinted cards, but worse. Just strictly worse. Like, you would not play them unless you're willing to cut some power to basically run the same card multiple times. And I'm talking about 0 to 50. So you have 0 to 60. But then you also have 0 to 50, which is just a strictly worse version. And I love the flavor text on it. It says 0 to 60. You'll get a ticket for that. But
that's awesome.
But so 0 to 50 is yellow. At yellow, it's 0, tax for 2, blocks 3. 0 to 60 is yellow, 0, costs 3, blocks 3.
There's just
and boost
a little bit. Yeah, so it's just strictly worse.
Yeah. But in the limited format, it works. It's just an extra card that you can put into the set. Like, obviously, you would want a 0 to 60, but you pulled a 0 to 50.
It's for the limited. Yeah, I get it. Limited only cards that are otherwise kind of garbage in CC or whatnot.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And so I think you'll just see a lot of that in these kinds of sets.
Trying to prevent power creep.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of like devolving instead of evolving.
Yeah, because like you said, you have to be cautious with the amount of 0 boost go again cards. Because like if you just reprinted 0 to 60 with a new name, and then now people can play 9 0 to 60s, essentially.
That's an interesting point. Yeah.
But then that also opens things up, and you can go even more boost. But so like, do they reprint the same card functionality on a card with a new name to then allow more copies of that card in your deck? I don't think so, but maybe in some situations like common cards to really help certain decks be more viable.
Like archetypes or whatever, yeah.
Like if I was able to get this card more reliably, then this deck would work.
Yeah, it would make
it
functional.
I mean?
Yeah. I could see that.
Which could be cool.
I don't know. This is a weird one. I'm not going to lie.
Yeah.
I'll tell you, the biggest disappointment for me is the Marvels.
Yeah, that's
I'm
fair.
really upset about that. I don't know.
That's fair.
Where's my art?
I don't know. I think this has just kind of been like a wake-up call for me, I guess, of a set of where I'm like, this is just, it's something that I don't need. I'm not interested in. Like, there's very few things that I want from this set.
Yeah.
Really just the Warrior Majestic.
The crack shuffle play thing a try, see how that goes. But I'm guessing it's going to be too complex for it to be an easy onboarding thing. Therefore, our theory about it being
that's
like
been
really played set because it's an onboarding thing. I think that's out the window, right?
I could see like a niche getting into it, but the same niche as like Jumpstart in Magic, which is not
a minimal,
right?
Well, and you said something yesterday when we were talking about this that I thought was interesting. Crack shuffle play ultimately comes down to the first hand that finds a strong
I think so.
Line of play.
That's my opinion, but yeah.
I mean, we'll have to test it and play to see, but let us know in the comments if you played a lot of crack shuffle play, if that's the case. But when I thought about it, I was like, oh, that makes a lot of sense. In a mechanically tight game like Flesh and Blood, one that has minimal variance, right? It does. It ultimately comes down to the first person to draw a hand that has a strong play line at the point where they have enough life they can sacrifice to make sure they maximize that play. And then they're just ahead.
Yep.
And it puts the other person on the back foot, and it gets in that defense cycle where it's like you're about to die, which with low hit points, you're totally right. Like it makes total sense. That first big combo wins it. And recovery on something as randomized as crack shuffle play is not going to work, right? You're not going to get it. And because the structures and rules of the game don't allow for this massive variance, right? Where it's like, random power, right? That can just overwhelm. It's just not, it's not built that way. It's built for precision play. It's not built for randomized success. And therefore, I think your philosophy or theory on this is correct. It sounds correct.
Yeah.
Which makes this that kind of play style pretty stale, I would imagine, pretty quickly. Because really it's just about, okay, you got some packs, you shuffle them together. What are your odds of pulling that good hand? And what are your odds of identifying? I guess there's that, right? If you can't identify it, there's a skill area, an area of skill to increase. But once you can identify, maybe it is then for starter players, even though it's complex. Because then it's about like who can identify the line first.
Right.
I don't know. I think I need to play some crack shuffle.
Yeah. I mean, a lot of people are comparing it to Jumpstart. Obviously, it's very different because it's a different game. But
now, here's the thing. You remember that one Jumpstart game that you refused to air because I beat you?
Yeah.
And I beat you because your 2 packs kind of sucked together,
Yes,
right?
correct.
That's the reason we'll give.
Yeah, that was it.
But it actually is likely that, right? Because
Yeah.
there's a high randomness in those packs, right? And so
Uh,
there's a fairly high randomness. You have the 2 big cards that are a mix of 3 different combos, but
yeah.
everything else in the pack is kind of randomized chaff.
No, everything's the same chaff except for 1 or 2 cards.
Wait, they're exact. So you're just bad at the game. So you're saying I won fair and square and it wasn't a pack.
No. So they're not the same in every pack. Like you open it,
it's the same pool.
It's the same pool,
right?
No, but there's like different archetypes, like red, white, or black, blue, or like there's just 2. Like if you get, say you open, I think I opened 2 black, and but I didn't get any of the sacrifice.
Yeah, it was like graveyard stuff, and
it was throw everything in your graveyard, and then
you had all this like out of graveyard, and you're like, I can't get stuff to my graveyard on purpose easily.
No. It was I had things to put things in my graveyard, but I didn't have anything to get them out of my graveyard.
Yeah, I knew it was something with the
so I was actively
you had half of the equation, but not the other half.
Yeah.
So that variance, right, compared to something like this, which isn't going to have that high of a variance, right, because of the tight.
No, because you're all mechanologists.
Yeah, the tight mechanics are numeric, right? You can pretty much do the math and know what you can do with any given hand. So, do you think this is better or that is better? See, I actually think this is better. I think mechanologist is better than I accidentally got half of an equation.
Yes, absolutely.
Because that's a feel bad you can't do shit about it. This one's a feel bad you may not know how to play this game well enough yet.
Right. Yes, I agree.
Which is on you, and when it's personal responsibility, in my mind, I think that's better because it means I can learn, I can get better, I can.
It's not a limitation of the game.
Yeah, exactly. It's not a limitation of, well, you're just screwed. Sorry, you could play this game 1,000 times and you're just gonna lose because you can't get stuff out of the graveyard. You know,
right? And I agree that this is much better than Jumpstart. I'm not saying it's not.
No, I know, but I was just thinking about it. I'm like, because we're like, that kind of sucks that it's the first person to identify the combo. But honestly, it's better than the equivalent. You know, your Jumpstart equivalent, where it's like
it is. Yes, yeah.
You might accidentally get a bad pack, or like, what was that one game?
Soulforge.
Yeah, Soulforge. That's it. Yeah, that one. Like some of the packs were just weaker.
Yeah.
They're just weaker. And that always felt bad.
Yeah.
I was also bad at that game, so that didn't help.
No, I guess the first thing, like, because you don't look at your deck, right? First, you just put them all together.
Play, yeah. You don't know. Yeah. So it's hand by hand identification.
Right. And so you don't know if you should be building into Teklo or blocking with your equipment or just, I don't know. I guess then, because it is a armory format, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so in your follow-up games, you could then know what's in your deck.
Did they add it as armory?
Don't know.
I can't remember. If they did, let us know in the comments.
Yeah.
Because that would make a difference, right? Multiple rounds with the same pack or stack.
Yeah, because then you would have more information.
Yeah. Other thing that I think is good about this, and this kind of goes back to a training tool thing. Okay. All things being equal, your deck is a chaos pile, right?
Yeah.
Identifying hand functionality and basically you have one thing to focus on because you don't know the rest, and that is what's right in front of you. Teaching the math of a hand, that's what this does, where you have to be able to identify, okay, I should block 6 or 9 this turn and set something in arsenal to create value for next turn. See what I'm saying? Because all you're focused on it actually kind of reminds me of the very beginning of Fab, when like pitch stacking wasn't really understood or wasn't a thing, and everyone was basically just swinging back and forth. It's all about identifying the math of a hand and eking out additional value if you can.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
It is a training tool for that. And since the games will be fast, you can do a lot of repetition pretty quick and get that down pretty quick with this.
Yes.
I think. So maybe it has a place. Maybe it's just not for you, you know?
Yeah, it's definitely not for me.
Because you're like, there's no pitch stacking. There's none of these other things I would like to think about and take into consideration.
Right.
But it might be for the people who
You
are
think
like
I
just
pitch
trying to
stack?
learn hand math,
Yeah.
It could be good practice for them.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, I didn't think about that until just now. I mean, I think originally we kind of talked about it in general, but just thinking about it is like all you can focus on is your hand because you don't know what's in your deck. There's no point in pitch stacking. You have no idea if you can have a payoff for it. So it's literally about is blocking better or hitting better and which set,
Yes.
Does seem pretty one dimensional though.
Yeah.
Doesn't seem as fun as I originally imagined it would be.
No. I mean, there's a ton of cards in this set. Like when we went through a lot of the cards before release, but even at release, I was seeing cards that I was like, "What's this? What's that? What's this?"
Yeah.
And yeah, I don't know. Just not my set, and that's fine.
Boo! Tommy hates Fab. Everyone yell at him in the comments. No, I'm just kidding.
I was hoping for like a spark to come out, I guess. Because I don't know. I've just been not burnt out on Fab, but it's just not drawing me. It seems too repetitive. I need something new. So I may build Max. We'll see.
It is a practice make perfect game.
Yeah, and I feel like I've gotten there with Dory.
You're like you've reached your plateau,
and don't want to do that again with another hero.
Oh, really? You feel locked in? You can't change?
No. It's just I don't feel like I have the drive to do that again. But enjoy the comfortability. And what I get out of Fab is the community and the friends that I get to go see every Thursday.
Like now they don't show up because the format's lame.
I know. That's the problem. So then
our
the drive
CC didn't fire, dude.
I know.
That's insane. That never happens.
Well, it's summer. We had people out of town.
It is not summer. It's October.
We had people out of town. I don't know.
It was the like one day before the release. So
yes, yeah.
I feel like
which
that
is
one's always pretty weak. Yeah, because everyone's like, I really just want to play with the new cards. I don't want to go in and not play with the new cards.
Right.
See them on the shelf and not be able to buy them.
Right, yeah.
It's really frustrating.
Yeah.
But that was still crazy. CC didn't fire. That's not great.
Yeah, and we had people sick.
Yeah.
There was a number of things. Yeah. But yeah, it is concerning. But I think once winter or like once all the traveling of everyone's done, I think things will start to get. Yeah.
Next year we'll start playing again.
Yeah. No, I think it'll be fine. I think I'm not concerned that will stop. I don't think that not firing will be the new standard.
Well, I hope not.
And we are growing in Philly, where we have another store actually opening and more players. Like at pre-release at Dark Depths, there were new players that I hadn't met before. And then
that's cool.
So new card players in Philly are being introduced to the game. Like the Philly Game Store as well is starting up Wednesdays.
Mm-hmm.
So you can do Wednesday, Thursday, and then some Saturdays in the city. And then just in Jersey, there's Monday, Tuesday, I think. So I think really relatively you could do Flesh and Blood every night of the week in this area.
That is new.
Which is new. So it is growing. I just think people are traveling or going out less, which may also be just like
I mean, I'm going out more. I just don't have time for games to be the thing to go out. Before I did have time because everything else was kind of shut down. Now that's not the case. So I'm out, but not at games. So here's a test for you. How ready are you for ProQuest? How ready are other people you know from the shop for ProQuest? Because it starts in 2 weeks.
Honestly, didn't know it was coming up.
Exactly. That's scary.
I mean, I'm not going to be messing around with Max then. I'm going to be running Dory.
Right. But I know. But it's like, oh, 2 weeks. I didn't realize it was that fast either. I mean, I kind of knew because I saw something about it, but
Yeah.
And I never really go to ProQuest, so for me, it's always been
it's not
like
you're
I don't
not a
really want to go.
ProQuest guy. Yeah.
Yeah, I've never liked ProQuest because it's too
October
much.
14th to November 5th.
Yeah, it's literally like
Next
a
week.
week or two away. Yeah, like.
Do we know when ours is?
I don't know which stores are holding it. Again, I've never cared about ProQuest. I don't follow.
Yeah, I'll have to see. I may not do one this year.
You won't. I can tell. Just from the way your energy is right now, you're not going to do it.
Well, no, it's just that I already have most of those weekends booked already. So like,
well, and that shows how important it was.
Yeah. I mean, again, like I've made it pretty clear that I'm backing away from trying to be the more competitive side.
Yeah. But then that means these events don't fire. And then what happens, you know? I mean, granted, not to say that you're everyone, just, you know, if you're feeling that way, how is everyone else feeling?
Probably similarly. No, I know. I won't say that. I think I'm the odd man out on that, I think people will still go to ProQuest in our locals. Like, I think it's still a big enough deal.
We shall see.
But cool. Well, anything else you want to touch on before we wrap this up?
No, I don't think so.
Cool. All right. Well, until next week, or until Thursday when we have the market update, we'll catch you guys later.
Have a good one.